All right, guys, so things are looking good here. We may be bottoming into this daily demand, but we need to see this level held or we are potentially going to trade lower. Now, before I get into that, my name is Paradise. I am a momentum and price action trader in the Mars High Club. Link in the description if you want to check that out. Also, make sure to hit subscribe and turn the notification bell on so you can be notified of all future videos. So let's jump into it. All right, so back to BTC. If you followed the last show, you saw that I drew out a scenario for two ranges. We are effectively now in the bottom range. And we really just want to see this print as a deviation here and reclaim the 112K range low to effectively start trading back into the old range and look for potential upside into the range EQ and potentially the highs. Now, before we get to that, this 112 level is quite important. And the reason we are looking at it is basically because of the different points of confluence there currently rejecting it. So we had a really nice divergence print into the daily demand, and now we are pressing into that level. You can also see the H4 Noodle capping price here, which it has done historically the whole way down. So really for me right now, I'm cautiously optimistic if we can flip this and get back inside there. But I think what I'm actually watching for, if we go to this chart right here, this is anchored VWAP from the 98K low, and this is also the value area. You can see we've deviated under previous values. So this is the old range here. The value area just shows where the most volume of transactions happen within this region. And you can see right now we have a couple of lines in the sand. So that 112K level I am watching for because basically it's just a structural level. So that would be the structure low that we reclaim. It's also lining up with the H4 Noodle. So this is a good start, but it's not the end game here. The end game is if we can get up into the value area low and also the anchored VWAP from 98K. Reclaiming those two things, I think we can push up at least until the value area high up at 119.5, 120. But if we reject that, I think potentially we just come back down and make new lows. Now, if we make new lows, I'm going to refer back to an old chart. So I went over this in the last few streams just because this is my line in the sand for market trend continuation for this cycle. I think down here, if we come into that 104K level I mentioned earlier, it gives a really nice pocket of confluence. You can see we have a weekly demand level down here, also lines up with the weekly noodle. Now going back to 2023, the weekly noodle has held since being flipped on every retest. We've never once closed a body below it on the weekly time frame. Wicks don't matter, it's all about the close. So for me right now, if we can't get that push up and we reject here on this time frame, then I'm looking for a push down into this daily FVG down here. Now this is 104K. That lines up with that VWAP area I was talking about. It lines up with the weekly noodle. There's a lot of points of confluence down here, and this is effectively where I'll be loading up shop. Now, the thing to note here is we are back in the old range, so we need to play it like a standard range rotation, potentially. This was the old range. We had a deviation of the high. We came back down. Now, why I'm looking for, as I said, a deviation of this is if we can deviate right now, that would be confirmed by printing back inside the old range. Now, if we can't do that and we actually accept in this range, so this was a very nice attempt at getting back above it, this candle, the previous day's close. If we can't get back above it, I see the potential for us to roll lower and accept and maybe go for some sort of range rotation like that as outlined in the last show. But I'm not really going for the bottom yet. I think the line in the sand for me is that weekly noodle plus the daily FVG confluence down here at 104K. The important thing to note about the weekly noodle, it does start at that level as you see, but it also goes down to around 98K. Now 98K would also be fine, and that's a very big liquidity sweep that could make for a very nice opportunity for a swing if we can come down and raid this low. I think a really nice setup would be to raid that low, get back inside this range, and then look for the rotation back into the highs. But it's early days yet. Really right now, not much to action. I wouldn't go longing BTC right here into resistance. We kind of want to see that reclaim, that confirmation of at least 112K, and then we have greater confirmation if we flip that 114K level. So moving across to ETH, I am watching something right now. I think this looks structurally better, but if you look actually what's happening across momentum oscillators, we are diverging. So RSI, it has reset on these 50 retests, but the AO, the awesome oscillator, which kind of measures momentum across a higher time frame, so it's slower to act. This is forming a very nice triple divergence. So, a bit of a concern for me. These things take a while to play out, but I think maybe there is indication of the trend stalling up here. So we just need to kind of see how that plays out. In terms of the 4-hour, a level I marked out last week was this line here. I wanted to see us bounce off the 4-hour noodle plus that level at 45.30, but we actually went a bit lower down into the daily demand before bouncing, and we have since reclaimed the 4-hour noodle plus that 4-hour level. Effectively right now, you just want to see that 45.30 level held, and you're looking for a rotation up into the highs and potentially new all-time high. So early days yet. I think we just need to pay attention to this for what it is. I think ETHBTC also looking very nice. It came down and swept that low that I marked out last week, deviated into the H4 Noodle before reclaiming it. Very bullish reclaim. We actually have an inversion FVG in here, which we can target for a sweep down into if we get it. But I just want to see that continuation on the H4 Noodle. So if we sweep down into that again, I think this could potentially make for a nice buy for Ethereum. Solana been pretty strong over the last 48 hours. We can see that it's once again pressing up into that monthly level. You can also see the Sol dominance, Sol BTC, Sol ETH, all sort of outperforming. So this is a market we need to be looking at right now. As I stated in the last show, this is not something I'm looking to bid just yet. I am watching this monthly resistance level. I'm not someone who goes balls to the wall long into resistance unless the greater market supports it. Right now, it is not, with BTC sort of hazarding at trending lower. So I just really want to see that happen. So for me, I think we close the monthly, which is just a few days away, above this level. Then we can look for opportunities within the Solana ecosystem. But for what it is right now, it's just trending up the daily noodle, looking quite strong, obviously being capped by that level time and time again. A nice daily close through that could give us better credence that we might be early to front run this on the monthly close. We just need to see that happen. Hype is another chart, something I'm watching, very strong market. This is a trade I shared with you guys in the last video. So came very close to being stopped out at entry here once I bumped up my stops. But you can see it has gone to target overnight, the $50 level, and now broken above it. I think the M15 Noodle has been pretty strong for this so far, if I get rid of the P&L tool. M15 Noodle, once we flipped it, it's been very strong on the way up. So effectively, I'm just looking for that noodle to come up and for price to come down and effectively give it some sort of retest before pushing up. And that wraps up today's update. If you want to join the Mars High Club, the link's in the description. I share all these trades live. I share my market outlooks, and you have access to the Money Noodle indicator, which has been an excellent barometer in the sand for low time frame and high time frame trend trading as we speak. Also, don't forget to hit subscribe and ding the notification bell so you are alerted to all my videos as they come up live. And with that, I'll be back in a few days and I'll leave it there. Cheers.